Magic the Gathering is a game of skill. And this is Jamin, one of my smartest friends.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
I have scoured the web for 3 of the hardest Magic the Gathering puzzles I can find. And I'll see if you, along with Jamin, can crack the puzzle and solve the code. And this is puzzle number 1.
Did you take my glasses?
Yes.
I've been looking for these.
Jamin, this is problem number 1. On my side of the board, very simple. I have 1/1/1 flying illusion token. I have 1 more 1/1 flying illusion token. And oh, look at that, I have a third one. How did they get there? I don't know.
You don't even have lands.
I don't have cards in hand or a deck. I do have 8 life.
Okay.
This turn, you are going to have to bring me down to 0. You have 1 mobile garrison, which is a 3/4 artifact vehicle. Whenever it attacks, you untap another target artifact or creature you control. It also happens to have crew 2. The second member of your heist crew is Not Vine Paladin. It's a 2/2 human knight, and whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each untapped creature you control. Finally, you have Granger Guildmage, which is a staple of Mirage. It's a wizard. If you tap it and pay 1 white, target creature gains first strike until end of turn. You can also tap it and pay 1 red. Granger Guildmage deals 1 damage to target creature or player and 1 damage to you. You have 3 mountains.
And 2 temple gardens.
2 temple gardens. You have 2 cards in hand.
All right, yeah, I was about to say dealing 8 with this board seems difficult.
Gonna be hard. Would you like to give them a read?
All right, I've got a Chaos Charm. Now that one is a 1 red instant. Target creature is either unaffected by summoning sickness this turn, meaning it grants haste, or it deals 1 damage to target creature, or I can destroy a wall, which I can't in this turn because there's no wall. Alternatively, there's also Renegade Wheelsmith, which is a 3 mana 3/2 that when it becomes tapped, target creature can't block this turn.
You said Renegade Will Smith, and I find it very funny.
Renegade Wheelsmith. It's a Renegade Wheelsmith.
So, last bit of context, you are at 3. So, if you don't defeat me this turn, I'll just swing and hit you with the illusions next turn.
That's rough.
Why are they illusions? Because I am master of disguise.
So the first thing I notice is that I can pick off a blocker by dealing 1 damage here.
I would like to point out that it also deals 1 damage to you. So it doesn't reduce my clock.
That's true. But I can deal 1 damage here, which does reduce your clock. So can I somehow untap this? I can't. And you're at 8. Is that correct?
I'm at 8.
You're at 8. So I have so many tools available to pick off blockers because they're all 1/1s. So I reckon the solution has to do with picking off all blockers. So I'm gonna tap out of white mana and cast my Renegade Wheelsmith. I'll use the Wheelsmith to crew the garrison, which...
What does crewing do?
It turns the garrison into a creature.
So Will Smith will tap.
Yeah. Stop saying Will Smith, Carl. And while it taps, target creature can't block this turn. So this illusion token, no block.
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3 down. So if I activate the Granger Guildmage, I can untap it with the garrison and then activate it again to pick off the 2 blockers. But then that's only 6 total damage to you rather than the 8 that I need to deal.
Currently, 33% of my blockers cannot block.
All right, so this costs me mana to take down a blocker. This costs me mana and taps a creature to take down a blocker, which doesn't seem too great.
I know, this is unsolvable.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, see you in the next video. Okay, so I think this works because I found a way to disable another blocker without spending any mana. I'll head to combat and I'll attack with both the garrison and the Not Vine Paladin. I'll stack the triggers in a way where the garrison untaps the Wheelsmith before the Paladin trigger resolves.
So it's currently a 4/4.
It is, and before you can block, I will activate the crew ability again to turn it into a creature again. I mean, it's already a creature, but it can also become a creature still.
No! Jamin, would you mind to explain that to the viewers?
This works because crew is an activated ability that you can reuse as often as you want. Just because something has become an artifact creature this turn already, doesn't mean you can't activate the crew ability again. Usually it doesn't have any effect, but in this case, it lets me disable the final blocker without spending any mana.
Jamin, you're too smart.
And then I won't choose the same illusion token again. No. Instead, I'll choose a different one that can block this turn, which is this one. And then also before blocks, I will cast the Chaos Charm, I'll choose the second mode, which is Chaos Charm deals 1 damage to target creature. I'll pick off the final blocker.
illusion!
So here comes 4 damage off the Notvine Paladin, because these 2 were untapped when it attacked. And 3 more damage, because this is an actual artifact creature now. So you go to 1. And then I've got this cool guild mage flying around.
No!
And I'll activate its ability to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. That's you. And 1 damage to me. That's me.
No! You solved it! Jamin,
Yes.
welcome to puzzle number 2. I came here with a suit today. I wasn't going to come with just one puzzle.
Makes sense.
I'll explain the board to you. I have 6 lands. I have lands this time.
They're very specific lands.
You don't say! They're kind of unfortunate. I have 3 Cascade Bluffs, which are lands that can either tap or colorless, or if you feed them a red or a blue, they can add 2 red, 2 blue, or blue-red. In this case, we only care about the 2 red. I also have 3 Sivan Wreath, which also have the magical aptitude of only tapping for colorless, unless you pay 1 life, then they can tap for a red. On the board, I have 1 creature. How did we get here? I'm not quite sure. This is not the question we're answering today. What we're answering is, this is an Ashlyn the Pilgrim. It's a 1/1 legendary creature. If I pay 1 and a red, I put a +1/+1 counter on Ashlyn the Pilgrim. If this is the 3rd time that this ability is resolved this turn, I remove all +1/+1 counters from Ashlyn the Pilgrim, and it deals that much damage to each creature or player. So potentially, 3. You have some creatures as well, Jamin. Would you like to explain your board?
There's 2 Dread Shades here. Both of them 3/3s that can get pumped for 1 black mana. And then there's 1 Carnifex Demon that is a 6/6 flyer, though right now it's only a 4/4 because it enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. And I can pay a black, remove a -1/-1 counter from Carnifex Demon to put a -1/-1 counter on each other creature.
You also have 3 swamps in play.
I do.
And this card.
Scar. 1 black, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature as an instant.
As you might
That's
see,
like a better version of this one.
slightly so, yes. As you might see, there's a theme. Now, these are -1/-1 counters. We don't have -1/-1 counters, so for context, these are +1/+1 counters. We don't have CGI, but we have the second best thing. Your imagination!
Don't we have CGI?
Finally, Jamin, for context, I am at 10. You have to beat me this turn.
Alright, easy.
Important? You are at 3.
Oh.
That's easy. One other last thing is, in this case, it's not just I'm gonna tank real hard, come with a solution, because I can also interact.
Okay.
I can choose when I use his abilities, I can choose to block, I can choose what I block. So I suggest you just play them out. You can rewind anytime you like. It's like Mario, except you have infinite lives.
I guess I'll just go ahead then, and I'll cast the Scar on your Pilgrim.
It's dead. No, that would be so easy. I'm gonna take 1 life to add a red
Down to
my
9.
pool, and then I'm going to use this to add 2 red. I'm gonna use this Sivan Wreath to add a colorless, floating a red. I'm gonna go in response to this before it dies. I'm gonna attempt to add a +1/+1 counter on Ashling the Pilgrim.
Alright, I mean, in response, I'll just activate the demon, because I don't want your thing to get counters.
This is the stack. Upcoming is -1/-1 counters, followed by +1/+1 counters, followed by Scar. I still have a red floating. I'm gonna tap a Cascade Bluffs to attempt to, in response, add another +1/+1 counter. We have a conveyor belt. This is like sushi.
We're trying things out. I'll respond with my own ability again.
This is super fun. I'm gonna finally take 1 more damage,
Down to 8.
down to 8, to add 2 red. Then I'm gonna put a counter on Ashling the Pilgrim.
Alright,
We shall go down a winding road.
so -1 and +1 counters, they cancel each other out in Magic, right?
Yes, they do.
Because that's kind of how the rules work. So those go away, but my Dread Shades, they do get those -1/-1 counters.
They get smaller. Then Ashlyn gets bigger.
Yep, and then
Then everything gets
cancel
smaller
each
again.
other out again.
Then Ashlyn gets bigger. Now, there's some math. The card saw that we've done this 3 times.
Yeah, so this is the 3rd time the ability resolves, so you remove all counters, and it deals 1 damage to each creature and each player.
I go to 7.
I go to 2, and these die.
Then Scar resolves.
It does.
Ashlyn dies.
Yep.
This has been a massacre.
And then I'll attack with my demon.
I go to 1. Would you
what-
like to rewind?
I would. Alright, if casting the thing first isn't the answer, I'm not in thinking mode, Carl. Let's try attacking.
I'm gonna block.
I feel like I know where this is going, but I'll activate the Dreadshade 3 times. So for 1 black, I give it +1/+1. So I'll use that 3 times to make it a 6/6 plus 4/4. That's lethal.
I'll float 6.
Sure.
I will put 3 counters on my Ashling the Pilgrim. As you cannot respond, let's just play it out. I'll deal 3 damage to everything.
Rewind time? Okay, so if attacking is clearly not the answer because the blocking is kind of harmful, if you noticed, now I'm in thinking mode.
Oh no.
So if attacking wasn't the correct play, and all of my actions can be taken at instant speed, activating the demon, activating either of the Dreadshade, or casting Scar, then my sequence of plays for the solution needs to start with casting the Scar.
I'm gonna have to respond.
I thought so because we played this game before.
My Shivan Reef is gonna deal me 1 damage to add a red.
Down to 9.
I'm gonna use the red to add 2 red.
Yep.
Basic maths. Now I don't want to use both red, so I'm gonna attack my Shivan Reef for its other mode, for colorless, leaving 1 red floating. Going to add a +1/+1 counter to Ashland the Pilgrim. Would you like to respond?
So instead, what I'll do this time is I'll just let it resolve.
Okay. It has a +1/+1 counter. Now, I have another red. I'm going to tap my Cascade Bluff for colorless to add another red to Ashland the Pilgrim. It's on the stack. Now, the stack is a little bit complicated here, folks. So, we have 1 +1/+1 counter impending, and after that, we have a -1/-1 counter from the Scar.
Alright, so in response to that, I will activate the Carnifex Demon once, because I think this was my mistake on the first time. Would you like to respond?
I think you've been seeing through my plan, Jamin. I'll take another 1
Down to 8.
to add 2 red with my Cascade Bluff.
Yep.
This will put more effects on the stack. I would like to put a +1/+1 counter on the Ashling the Pilgrim.
Sure.
Okay, so the second counter goes, this is where CGI happens.
Wow.
Beautiful. But this is only the second time this happens, although it's the third time I activated, because there's still more effects upcoming. It'll get a -1/-1 counter.
Yeah.
It's currently a 2/2. Would you like to respond?
I can just let this resolve because this time Ashling will deal 2 damage to himself.
Once again, the third time this happens, I remove all +1/+1 counters from Ashling the Pilgrim, and it deals that much damage to each creature and each player.
Yeah, so that's 2 damage for each of us. I go to 1.
I've already spent 2 life.
So you go to 6. The Dreadshades, they're 2/2s by now, so they die. And then the Scar resolves, taking care of the Pilgrim.
Unfortunately, your demon is only a 5/5.
How unfortunate, but I can activate it once
No!
more, removing another counter, making it a 6/6, putting a -1/-1 counter on all other creatures,
Oh,
and then swing in for the kill.
good. Well done,
Thank you.
Yamin. Let's go to puzzle number 3. Yamin, I hope you've been doing a lot of Sudoku, because this one is so difficult. So, we each have a board. I have way more permanents than you. I'll walk you through my board. I have a 9 lives. It's an enchantment. It has hexproof. It also has a really adorable cat on it. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on 9 lives. But when there are 9 or more incarnation counters on 9 lives, you exile it. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. That's already kind of complicated. I also have a Lich's Mastery. Lich's Mastery is an enchantment that also has hexproof. There's a theme developing. I can't lose the game. Woo!
Okay.
Problem solved. Whenever you gain life, draw that many cards. When you lose life, for each 1 life you lost, exile a permanent you control or a card from your hand or graveyard. For context, I have no hands. Well,
Yeah.
they're empty, and I have no graveyard. And when Lich's Mastery leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. Wow. I hope my other permanents don't have so much of that going on. I also have a Phyrexian Obliterator. Oh,
A classic.
a classic. It has a trample and is a 5/5. And when a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, any source, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. Finally, I have a Crozen Vorine. It has Provoke. It's a 3/2. Provoke is that when it attacks, it may have target creature defending control blocks untap and block it if able. And it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. Finally, I have a Razorgrass Screen. Definitely not one of the more famous things on my board. It's just a 2/1 wall. It blocks each turn if able.
Alright, and I have a Dralnu Lichlord. If damage would be dealt to Dralnu, sacrifice that many permanents instead. And I can tap it, so target instant or sorcery in my graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. Flashback costs are equal to their mana costs. I also have a bunch of cards in hand.
Yeah, you thought this board was complicated? Would you mind giving all of those a read?
There's a Donate. 3 mana, target player gains control of target permanent you control. Ledger Domain. 4 mana, exchange control of target artifact or creature and another target permanent that shares one of those types with it. There's a Sower of Temptation that is a 4 mana 2/2 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, I gain control of target creature for as long as I control the Sower. There's a Fever Charm, which is modal and says either target creature gains haste until end of turn, or target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn, or Fever Charm deals 3 damage to a target wizard. There's Foul Tongue Shriek. Target opponent loses 1 life for each attacking creature you control. You gain that much life. And Rankle. Gain control of target creature with power 4 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. So do I just cast these for free, or?
Oh no, you do it the same way I did to cast mine. I use treasures.
Yes, of course.
I give you 5 treasures, Jamin. Now I will warn you, this will take a lot of thinking. This is the most difficult one yet.
So there's a bunch of controllership changing happening. What's your life total?
Or some might say there's a bunch of traps.
Maybe.
1.
You're at 1.
But that doesn't matter, because I can't lose the game, and my life total doesn't change. Or does it?
I can put you down to 0 life, but
We've established this already, Jamin.
Huh.
I am immune to death.
Do I have to win this turn?
Yes, Jamin. Let's just say you're at 3, and there's... No, you're at 21. Life is great. But there's 7 rift balls suspended.
Oh, okay. Alright.
I had a lot of treasures.
Of course you did, and a lot of card draw for some reason. Yeah, so there's 5 mana available in total. Although... Wait. Oh.
You can't donate me spells and ask me to cast them, and I'm out of treasure tokens.
No. So I feel like I'm very close, because this can grant +2/+0 to any creature, and if I somehow take the Obliterator, this has to block, and if I grant it more power, then that's 4 damage dealt to the Obliterator, and you only have 4 other permanents. But I think I'm a bit short on mana.
Maybe if you donate me a treasure token, I'll donate you more. Oh, the rift bolts. You can't politic your way out of this.
So, and it unfortunately has power 5. I can't reduce the power of the Obliterator in any way.
So you are thinking outside of the box, but I want you to think outside of the building in which the box is.
Outside of the building in which the box is now.
Easy task.
Do I bribe you?
Okay, well that's outside of the system in which the building is.
Oh. Wait, I think this is it if it works the way I think it does. So I cast Sower of Temptation, taking Vorine, granting haste with Fever Charm. This leaves me with 3 permanents. Now it's got so much text that it's almost a questing beast.
Okay.
And then I'll attack with both of my creatures.
So I'll put my Phyrexian Obliterator in front of the Provoker for context.
Yep.
Whenever Source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, the Source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. And then I'll also put my Razor Glass screen in front of it.
You won't, because this is a questing beast. You forgot about a line of text. Croson Vorin can't be blocked by more than 1 creature.
Oh no! Razor Glass screen blocks each turn of Fable.
Drownu will take damage as the very first thing off of the Razor Grass screen, because the Razor Grass screen has to block, and it can't block the Vorine because that one has to only be blocked by the Obliterator. This forces me to sacrifice 2 permanents. Sower of Temptation's effect only lasts as long as it's on the battlefield, and now you get back your thing because, well, my Sower died.
Oh no!
Then all the other damage effects will be applied. Let's check if any of them die, which is these 2.
Razor screen
has 3 damage on it.
It's dead.
Off the Drownu.
Frozen Voring
Has 5 damage on it, so it dies off the Obliterator.
Phyrexian Obliterator
Has 3 damage on it because of the Vorin. And the Vorin is your creature right now.
You attacked with it, Jamin.
Well, but right now it's your creature. First, this thing dies because it has 5 damage on it. The cat, the Vorin, it's gone. And now finally there's a trigger because this has been dealt 3 damage by your creature, Carl. So you better make up to the Obliterator.
And sacrifice 3 permanents?
Please do.
I'm not sure the Obliterator will be happy with this. Obliterator is gone. It's very upset with me. 9 lives is gone. When 9 lives leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. Oh, that's okay. Lich's Mastery has you can't lose the game. Lich's Mastery leaves the battlefield.
So you lose the game twice.
Well, only once that it mattered. Jamin Kauf, you have successfully beat all 3 riddles. Plus, we don't have a battlefield. Clean slate. Did the game even happen?
That was very clean. Now, if you like this kind of content, then please let us know. I mean, many of you asked for puzzles. Was this the way you wanted them? If you have any other feedback, please do share it in the comments below, because that's the way we get feedback from you and how we can improve the channel to suit your needs.
And on your way down, there's a subscribe button. It's the best way to let us know that you did enjoy this and you want to see more. And in the meantime, there's 2 videos coming up in 3, 2, 1.